You ever work on a project and you think you're finished, but you're just not? And it takes stepping away from it and obsessing about it a little bit to realize that you got to come back and change something. And that's what happened with the whole bumper and hitch install from the other day. After I left, I kept thinking about the one thing that drove me nuts, talked to Tim about it, asked his opinion, came down with him to take a look at it. He made some observations and some suggestions, and I agree with him. So here's the issue. This droops way too low. Makes me think of, I don't know, just somebody's pants falling down, I guess. We've got to tuck it up just to make it look better. Plus the fact that it sticks out way too far. It doesn't need to be out like that. Most vehicles, you get the actual part of the hitch here in nice and close. I don't know that we'll be able to get it in that far, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it back off, then I'm gonna take this piece and move it up here. We're gonna come back, well, I don't know, 3 inches, 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and then plus it's gonna come up, so it's gonna be tucked in a little bit more. The biggest challenge is gonna be the fact that I'm gonna have to just getting my pattern lined up here, but I do have a trick for that. So I'm gonna grab my wrenches, get this pulled off, get it over to the bench, and start modifying. All set up on the bench. Now that I've got it off, I'm hoping that when I get this up in here, I'll have to flip it upside down, but then it's not gonna, this bolt head, oh no, it won't at all. It'll be good. I was worried that this bolt head might interfere, but so yeah, we're basically just gonna take this off, we're gonna scoot it up into there. Yeah, everything should be good. Now, if I move, it's hard to show because this is heavy. If I move this guy where I want it to be right there, that's not gonna work. It would be perfect, but the fact of the matter is that any access to bolts is gonna be a pain in the butt. So, I'm gonna move it back to about there. I'm hoping that that'll do the trick and that we won't be back too far. So then basically what I've got to do next is put together a template, and anybody who's ever done this sort of stuff before knows the exact way to do it. I'll show you in 1 second. So we've got my little template here that I have cut out like that. Now, my finger is not dirty enough, but around here, it's not hard to get a dirty finger. Whoop. So, all I'm gonna do, I'm sure you've seen this on, well, lots of people have seen this on countless other videos, just like magic. Good template for doing the drilling and the cutting. Pulled out the flap disc, got this guy all ground down. Why? So I can just set my template on there and trace out my lines, and then I can do some cutting and some drilling, but more importantly, let's just check this out first. Over here, the biggest issue obviously is making sure that our square opening is large enough, and she sure is. Everything lines up, it appears. I'm thinking, yeah, exactly. So now mark it up, drill it up, and cut it up. I'm not sure if I'll use the grinder or the plasma for that. Probably the plasma, although I never can do a straight line. Okay, one side done. Now, I did make a big mistake. It was silly on my part and kind of lazy, but also it was because I haven't done this before and it was kind of a bit of a challenge. I shouldn't have used a plasma cutter to cut the rest of the square out. What ended up going on was it went too far outside my lines and it got too close to the bolt holes. So what we didn't see on camera is that I had to go and weld that chunk back in and then cut it back out again so it would all line up. But it does line up now. I'm gonna go and do the other side, and then what I've gotta do is I've then gotta cut this off here so it doesn't stick out. Okay, bolted back together. That's pretty good. A few issues along the way, but all done now. I'm gonna go back and just see how it fits up. I don't wanna cut anything until that's it's done and I see kind of where things sit, and it'll give me an idea, and then I can mark a line here and just chop this stuff off. And there we go. This is just a test fit, just to be sure. We've got this tucked way back. It certainly doesn't sit as low. You can see kind of how we went up by maybe an inch, inch and a half. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll just cut this guy off there. Next up, making up some braces for these, which means I'll be back in a snap. I'm back on another day to get a few things done. Picking up where I last left off, I've got the trailer hitch over on the bench here. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm just gonna mark a little line and I'm gonna cut it off like this. I'm gonna plug this hole for aesthetics. Oh, no, I'm not gonna cut it there. I gotta cut it here. Yes, not there. And for aesthetics, so I don't need to plug any holes. What am I talking about? So yeah, that's gonna go, oh wait, no, sorry. It's gonna go this way. It has to come off, not that way. What am I thinking? It's because it's upside down. So anyway, it's gonna come off this way. Then, will I have to plug a hole? Yeah, I'll have to plug that hole there because we're gonna just have a little bit left of that so it looks nice. Then I've got this.
What is that?
My energy suspension bushings for the front sway bar on the car. I've been waiting for these to show up so that I can put that piece there on. You know what, maybe I'll do it like that, and then I can save that hole in the off chance that I want to attach something to it at some point. Yeah, that's better. Okay. One done. All right, so even got some new bolts for the occasion. Figured that the age of these bolts in here and how hard it was to get them out might mean it's not a bad idea to put some new ones on. These are all grade 8. I imagine the ones that are grade 8 too. It's already looking much better. Okay, now the fun part. Really fun part. Crawling underneath to put the other bolts in. There, done. So, what a big difference. Let's take a good look. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. When I first started out, it stuck way down and it had a really funny look to it. A few mods, makes it look good. Okay, so one of the things that I mentioned earlier that we need to do, and I'm gonna just start working on it now, I'll just get my way around this, is we've got a lot of movement on these bumpers. Right? Tons and tons of movement. And when you drive down the road, it's going like my sound effects, I hope. So what I've done is I'm kind of lazy and I don't feel like going to pick up any metal. So luckily I went rooting around down in our pile of metal in the basement and I found this. Now, I was kind of wondering what it might be, and the only conclusion that I can come to from the looks of it is that this is the end of a snowblower. The part that points up into the air. I don't know if it's supposed to help cut the snowbank down or it's to be able to help you see or whatnot, but they sit up like on an angle like that off the end. There's just lying around. We don't have any orange snowblowers anymore, so I'm going to start cutting and bending and bracing. So after a lot of messing around and quite a few mistakes, I don't know if you saw it in the time lapse or not, it might have been hard to make out, but the back bumper is finally braced. So we've got one right in there, and then we got another guy right in there. And the best part is it doesn't move. It's not floppy at all. That means it won't be jumping around all over the place when it's driving down the highway. I'm really, really happy with how this back end has turned out so far. It's been quite a few days work on it, and it felt a little bit overwhelming when I first started, just trying to get everything matched up. But now that it's done, everything's tucked in and stuff like that, super happy. One last thing left to do today. It's kind of hard to see, but the sway bar, oh, there we go. That's much better. The sway bar is installed. New bushings are in. Everything is bolted up nicely. I didn't bother recording it because it really wasn't that exciting, just putting bolts on and trying to find washers because for some reason we have no washers around here. And that's it for this episode, folks. Hope that you enjoyed watching it. There was a lot going on. I didn't get around to putting the steering wheel in this week, so that's going to be next week's project, but I'm happy with the way things turned out, especially with that back bumper. It was a lot more work than I thought it would be, but now it looks so nice. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a good one.